So my story is very similar to Caroline's, but slightly different in the lessons. I had 3 difficulties speaking here today. The first difficulty was when Desola and Fatima approached me to talk about a fuck-up. And I looked at my life and I just couldn't figure out which of my many fuck-ups to talk about. Like, how long do I have? I thought maybe I had an hour or 2. I was strong and it took me 10 minutes. I'm like, what do you? I mean, I've been on this earth a long time. We've fucked up quite a few times. Then, second issue I had was the story I eventually decided to tell has a story for you to understand the fuck-up, because that story itself is a fuck-up. But I don't want to tell that story. And getting here and seeing certain people, I'm happy I took that decision. Third issue I had was I walked in here and I saw my pastor's personal person. And I'm here with my pastor's personal person and I'm talking about how I fucked up. Yeah. That's like, well, it happened. So, who am I? This is what I do, this is not who I am. But this is what I do, and for this audience, I think this is what the question answers. This is what I do. I'm a husband by circumstance. I entered a home in someone's house, and I now I'm married. I don't know how that happened. Same with father, son. 2 people met, 2 people did what they did. I popped out somewhere. The rest is what I've been trained to do. The rest is just my training, my experience. It spins out and looks like this. So, what was it that I fucked up on? I had spent about 15 years in banking, 10 years in Standard Chartered. I had worked in Lagos, London, Lusaka. I was a quote-unquote high-flying banker. In Standard Chartered, I was one of the top 10 highest-paid people. I was doing very well. 30s, no. But I had enough. I had enough. And I decided it was time to go. And I told myself, part of the issue I had was I was making a certain amount of money for the bank that I thought was too much. I was like, I'm making too much money for you guys compared to what you're paying me. And yet you guys are stressing me. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand. The amount of money I'm making versus what you're paying and you're still stressing me. It sounded like slave trade. And like Maureen, I was a bit vocal about it, and a lot of my bosses were not my skin color. So when you mention slave trade, it doesn't really sit well. I'm like, you pay me for what I was making for the bank, they paid me maybe 2%, 3% of what I made. I'm like, why are you stressing me? I'm like, you keep 97% and give me 3. I mean, I don't want to come to work, you know. But, so I left and I calculated, I said to myself, I have friends in mobile procurement, I have friends in total procurement, I have friends in Chevron procurement, I have friends in Saipem. I'm like, if I got, and I calculated it, if I got, between these 4 companies, if I got one job a year of $2 to $3 million, just one, and I had a 5 to 10% profit, which is, for that industry at that time, I'm like, that's $1 million a year. So, I said it, I left my job, I set up the company, I got my DPR permits, I did all the paperwork I should have done, like a serious person should have done. The only thing I didn't do, and we'll get to that. So, started looking for a job. Going up and down the place, I need a job, I need a job, I need a job. Then met a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, and I told her, this is what I'm doing now. I've left the bank, let hunger not kill us, so help me, brother. Are you sure, Zeal? I said, yeah. I said, okay, I know somebody. I said, okay, I can't tell you, but I know somebody. I'll talk to him, I'll see what he can do for you. But it's one of those things friends say, you know, and I moved on my life. Like 2 weeks later, I got a phone call. And the friend says, oh, I'm calling from this company. I'm like, okay. Is this Zeal? Yes. Where can we meet? I said, meet for what? He said, someone asked me to call you about a certain contract. And contract. I will come to you. I said, no. He said, when my Oga tells me to meet you, I have to meet you. Till today, I don't know who asked him to call me. But we met. And he came with a contract. Signed contract. Not in my company name. In another company name. It was roughly just under $100 million contract. And he dropped it on the table and said, we've given this guy this contract to supply 5 tugboats, 4 or 5 tugboats. It was a 5-year contract. And we know this guy cannot do it. We that gave him, we know. he can't do it. The period for the contract has elapsed, and we've renewed it for another 2 years. We know he can't do it. And we have two options. We can cancel the contract or continue going with him. If we cancel the contract, we can either give it to the next highest bidder, who we don't want to do and have anything to do with, or we tender it again, which means he has to go through nappings, blah, blah, blah. That's another 3-year process. But they said I should call you. And so if you can do the contract, we will get him to subcontract it to you. We will sign a tripartite agreement with you, which was unheard of at the time, where we will make sure the cash flows, we pay him, and it comes into your account so you don't run any risk. I got all of this information within 10 minutes on a platter of gold. What should have been my reaction?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. He gave me one condition. One condition alone. And said, you have 6 weeks to demonstrate that you can do it. Not that I should do it. 6 weeks. He said, even if you come with a letter from the bank saying they will fund you, we don't care what it is, just 6 weeks to come back to us and say, I can do it, and we give it. 6 weeks is, in my life, 6 weeks was an eternity, no problem. Next time. So what went wrong? What went wrong? Very simple things went wrong. Like, I went out looking for a job. I got all the paperwork. I believed I'll get the job. I did everything, but I kind of didn't open a bank account. Yeah, so at the time I needed to discuss with the bank, I needed funding of about, each tugboat was $8.5 million, and I needed 5, yes, it was 5. But it was a 5-year contract. I had gone to Abu Dhabi for a sea trade conference to meet all these seafarers globally. I knew where to get the tugboats. I knew where to get the crew. I knew where to get everything. But I just somehow didn't open a bank account. So when it was time to speak to banks, we are starting to speak to a bank from account opening to I need $40 million. Who are you? Why? Where did you come from? Who are you? Who's your father? Who's your mother? What's your blood group? You know, and you know how banks are. You know, I did the cash flows. First of all, the cash flows were negative. At the end of it took me about, I rushed it, so it took me, I did it myself. It took me about a week. The cash flows would have left me with a $5 million loss at the end of 5 years. But I would have paid off and owned 5 brand new tugboats. So I said, okay, we'll sell one tugboat at $8.5 million. A tugboat's lifespan is anywhere between 25 to 40 years. 5 years is nothing. 5 years is like a 1-year car. So I said, we'll sell one tugboat, pay off the negative cash flow, and that contract, chances are if you've done it well in 5 years, they'll renew it. And when you've paid off the bank, your cost is practically zero, because 75 to 80% of the entire cash flow was going on servicing the loan and maintaining the boats. 20% was going on all sorts of insurance fees, feeding the crew. There was really no money. But my friends in DPR, I met people, introduced me to people with DPR and that, they say, yeah, everybody underbids for these jobs. After you've run it for a year or two, you then apply for a variation, which when you pull the right strings, it gets approved. So you're not expected to make profit in year 1 or 2. Now, it was kind of hard explaining this to a bank because I didn't have a bank account. So at the time I went to the bankers to talk to them. You come brand new with account opening form and loan request for $40 million and cash flow that is $5 million negative. So it just never started. It just never started. And next slide. So what could I have done better? Because today I've trained as a mind coach, I can look back and understand exactly what went wrong. And what went wrong for me was a conflict in my belief systems and my goals. And it happens to a lot of people. And I'll digress a little to give an example. And I'll give the example of a lot of Nigerians who believe that to be very rich, you have to be corrupt or a ritualist. Right? And at the same time, they have goals to be very rich. And they have a value system that they will not be corrupt or ritualist. And in Excel, that's called what? Secular error. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because your own subconscious is going to work against you because you don't want to be corrupt, you don't want to be ritualist. You believe rich people are corrupt and ritualists, and you say you want to be rich. It doesn't work. So that was what happened to me. There was a conflict in my goals. I said it with my mouth, I wanted it. I pretended to behave, but if I really believed it, on day one, oh, by the way, my DPR permit didn't allow me to do top codes because the top code permit was 250,000 naira. And so I got the permits for 25k and 50k because I said, why would I waste money when there's no job? So you can see the conflict in belief system. I wanted something, I thought I would get it, but my actions did not portray what I believe. So I never invested in preparations. I said it, I asked for it, and this is like where success slaps you in the face and there's absolutely nothing you could do about it. So that was what happened to me. Next slide. What did I learn? I didn't write anything here because I also show one slide or 2 or 3 with it, but I learned a lot. I learned that it's important to talk to yourself. I know it sounds weird, but it's important to have a conversation with yourself when you say, I want something. You need to ask yourself. So I do this a lot, and people that have been to my office may have experienced it. I have sheets of paper I put on the floor. So I'll stand on one sheet of paper. This is Zeal, the realist. Then there is Zeal, the critic, and there is Zeal, the dreamer. 3 pieces of paper. So Zeal, the dreamer, puts and discusses. I want a yacht, I want to live in Banana, I want to Miami, blah, 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 blah. I list everything. Then I go to Zeal, the critic, and I laugh at Zeal, the dreamer. You're an idiot. Where are you going to get this from? And we have a conversation. Then I go to Zeal, the realist. I say, okay, now that the critic has told you all the reasons why you can't have what you really want, how do we marry the two? And then we have a conversation. And then I realize if you really want some things, you need to understand what it takes to get them. You need to be prepared to do what it takes to get them. And you need to set aside every weight that prevents you from getting them. And so it has helped me travel a very interesting journey that is very different from what most people have done. And I know for certain today, if I want something, before I start, I've mapped it out. I have a good idea of what it takes. If it involves killing my neighbor, I ask myself, I don't ask myself if I want to kill my neighbor or not. I ask myself, do I like my neighbor? If I don't like him, well, killing is like people. So I ask myself, because if I ask myself, do I want to kill my neighbor, I know what the answer will be. The answer will be no. So I'm not asking myself that. I don't ask myself the tough questions. I ask myself simple questions. Do I like him? No. Alright. So it's dispensable. And that's how I treat things generally. Of course, I'm not going to kill anybody, hopefully. At least not tonight. But in its next slide, please. It has helped me quite a bit. And in what I do today, I've learned something, and Caroline touched on it. It has helped me understand, because of the coaching training I did as well, it has helped me understand the language of the universe. And the language of the universe is in thoughts and images. Specifically, it's in the images created by your thoughts. And so when you have thoughts that are not consistent with what you want, your desires and your goals, how you know is that your emotion changes. And so if you're self-aware, you live in the present, you can tell something is off. Very, very, very off. And so for me, I've learned it, and I have images of exactly what I want. And so when I meet it, I recognize it immediately. Once I recognize an image I created, unfortunately, the question is not whether or not I want it. The question is, how am I getting it? It's as simple as that. And how I'm getting it means everything that's not in the how falls off it. And it sounds brutal. In the first slide, there's something I started called the Angel Project, where motto is to be the angel you hope to meet. So we go to prisons, we go to hospital and get people out. On one occasion, I was called from the hospital. I'm giving this as an example of the type of decisions I'm willing to make. I was called to a hospital once, because I've done that with this hospital a lot, and they begged me that there's this guy, he has an issue, he has renal failure, doctors have given him max 48 hours to live, blah, 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 blah. His blood count is low. Everything was just bad for the guy. And I needed to pay for him to have blood transfusion and dialysis. Otherwise, in 48 hours, he'd be dead. And I said, no. And everybody was shocked. I said, but you've paid more for other people. Why would you pay for this guy? And I said, because I have a goal. And he's outside the goal. Everybody was stone silent. And I said, you will let him die? And I said, I don't want him to die. But you see, everybody dies every day. He may die, he may not, somebody else may die. It sounds heartless, but I left there, I was in pain, but I had a goal. He didn't fit the goal. My goal is to set people free. Take them out of hospital, not keep them in. So I will not do anything. So with prisons, for example, the controller of Lagos prisons comes to my office on Tuesday to have the same discussion. I told him, I will do nothing to keep anybody comfortable in prison. I won't give you a mattress, I won't give you rice, I won't pay for their fees, I will only get them out. That's my goal. My cousin has beaten me over this goal, and I've told her, get yours. You want to help them there? By all means. They're not mutually exclusive. So that failure helped me focus on what really is important. What's important is not so much what's convenient, and it's not so much what you want. It's more about, do you understand what you want? Is what you want consistent with who you are? And is what you want and who you are consistent with what you're willing to do? If you're not willing to do it and it's not who you are, it's not what you want, it can never work. It's just like my phone. Whether I like it or not, if I fast, pray, go to church, to speak in tongues, if I drop this phone from here, it will break. It's a law. Law doesn't care whether it likes me or not. And so some of these things are just the universal laws. If you're doing stuff that's not consistent with who you are, what you want, or what you're willing to do, and I'm very careful picking my words, what you're willing to do has no correlation with right and wrong for success. Right and wrong is about how you feel, how you've been raised, how you've been programmed, what you want to do. What was right for me in Lagos, I worked in Standard Chartered where if a client does any transaction and you go and take ₦1 from him, you get sacked. And then they will write Central Bank and say we sacked him because he's an idiot. If I worked in some other bank, I worked in a bank with, where's the bank? Where MD will be like, where's my share? So what's right and wrong is dependent on what exactly. So it's not about right and wrong, it's about what you can live with. If you're like me and you've built up who you are so that what you do is driven by purpose. And that purpose is driven by the mind of God. Then what's right and wrong becomes irrelevant. You will do what you need to do. And so I learned all of that from many stories, but I'm just summarizing them because this is just one fuck up. I was thinking about, should I speak about relationship fuck up? We'll stay here till maybe Tuesday. Should I speak about emotional fuck ups? We'll stay here for a long time. Should I speak about career fuck ups? You know, well, this was transactional. I could speak about this in 10 minutes. So this is what happened to me. And that 100 million job, if I had done it, in retrospect, was it a failure? I don't believe in failure. I believe failure is rungs in a ladder. You must climb the rungs in the ladder to get to the top. And I call those rungs failure. It's not failure, it's what lifts you. If I had done that job, this was in 2014, if I did this job in 2014, guess what would have happened in retrospect? I would have applied for a variation in 2015 after oil prices crashed. And guess what? Today you hear my name among the list of AMCON. It's me and AMCON that is. Do you understand? So I've learned the lesson, I've moved on from it. I have absolutely no regrets. The mistake was in my not being prepared, but I don't have any regrets about it. That's it.